Well, good afternoon, everyone. And good afternoon to those watching along online and those watching the recording later on. It's a privilege to welcome you all to the Surfboard Room here at the Pepperdine University Library. At Pepperdine, we're proud to convene conversations of global significance. The sun never sets on Pepperdine. As those of you who know Pepperdine well know that not only are we here in Malibu and in Washington, D.C., but from London to Vevey, Switzerland, to Florence, Italy, to Buenos Aires, Argentina, we span the globe. And we seek to do that in our President Speaker Series as well. We are a place that pursues truth without fear of what we will find. We ensure that we have the brightest and most important leaders come to campus from across the political spectrum, across the ideological spectrum, from people like we've had in this room, Air Force, former Secretary of the Air Force, Barbara Barrett, former UK Prime Minister at the law school. We had the conversation there with Liz Truss. Public intellectuals such as Jordan Peterson, Robbie George, and Cornel West, and Jonathan Haidt. At Pepperdine, we often hear the phrase purpose, service, and leadership. We're a Christian institution dedicated to preparing students for lives of purpose, service, and leadership. And we're here to strengthen students through intellectual pursuits as well as academic and other spiritual pursuits. Today we have a dedicated world leader who is with us, one who leads from a deep sense of purpose and has been dedicated in his life to both public service and education. Our distinguished guest is President Andrzej Duda of the Republic of Poland. Please join me in welcoming him. Just a few days ago, President Duda was in Princeton, New Jersey to speak at Princeton University and has upgraded to be speaking at Pepperdine today. He's given a promotion. President Duda is a lawyer, a politician, a husband, a father, and someone who served as president of the Republic of Poland from August 6, 2015 to August 6, 2025. So he's just finished his leadership on behalf of the country of Poland. He earned a law degree and later a doctoral degree in legal studies from the Faculty of Law and Administration at Jagiellonian University, where he's also taught administrative law subjects. Prior to his presidency, he held senior roles in the Ministry of Justice and in the Chancellery of the President. He served as a member of the Polish Parliament and also a member of the European Parliament. During his time as president, President Duda placed emphasis on national security, transatlantic cooperation, infrastructure and energy development, and regional engagement with Central and Eastern Europe. He remains one of the most recognizable Polish politicians, combining academic experience with political practice, and continues to play a significant role in shaping the direction of Poland's development in the 21st century. So before we begin with this conversation, a little bit of housekeeping. You have on your brochure in front of you, you've got a QR code on the back that will allow you to submit some questions if you have them. We'll only have time for a few at the end, but I'm going to go about 30 minutes of a conversation with President Duda, and then we'll turn to questions from the audience at the end. So let's start with the most difficult question I may ask you today. So you have led a country. You've debated in European Parliament. You've taught law school at a top university. Which is more difficult and rewarding, negotiating with NATO allies or teaching students?
Teaching students, definitely.
Tell us why.
No, thank you very much for your invitation, and thank you very much for your presence here in this very room. This is great pleasure for me, and I'm so happy that I can visit this part of the United States. And I've never been here before. This is my first time here in this part of California. Beautiful place. I said to the students few minutes ago that this is, my opinion, this is very difficult to study here because of this view and a very difficult choice what to do, to study or to serve. But thank you very much, and you know, this is, but the question is really serious. It also touches the very important significant moment in my life, yes, when suddenly I decided to move from university to politics. That was a very important moment and great change in my life.
Yeah. Which has been more rewarding?
And in my life in the life of my family.
Yeah. Which has been more rewarding to you? Helping shape the future generations of Poland through academia, or helping protect and serve your country in the global stage?
Both roles were very important, in my opinion. Yes, I love students. I love teaching. So I felt and I treated it as my mission. This years there's years ago. Yes, but that was this moment when this call came to serve the country as then Deputy Minister of Justice, because Under Secretary of State in Poland, Ministry of Justice, is a Deputy Minister of Justice. And I said yes, because this is, you know, this is something unique to have this possibility to try to do something for our society, for people, for our justice system.
Yeah. Well, you've had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time. Yesterday, you were at Pepperdine, at the Drescher campus, and for those who don't know, President Duda was part of a conversation that took place yesterday, a conference led by Dr. Kyron Skinner at the Public Policy School, where we talked about, I was an observer, where people like President Duda talked about the future of Israel and kind of the global challenges that the world is now in the midst of surrounding that part of the world. But you had a chance to spend some time walking on the beach a little bit today and to walk around campus, see the library. Talk about your initial reflections on being on a college campus again, and maybe some of the differences and similarities and what your reflections have been about your time here at Pepperdine so far.
No, I can only say that the place, the university is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful universities in the world.
One of? One of?
Well, okay, the most. Sorry. Sorry for this terrible mistake.
It's okay.
Most beautiful university in the world, and really unique, and with excellent, beautiful infrastructure. So I can say that the conditions for the education here are excellent.
Yeah. How would you characterize yesterday's conference?
Oh, the topic was very interesting, and the discussion were extremely valuable. And you know, and I said yesterday to the audience during the conference that it's a shame that I wasn't participate in this kind of conference more than 10 years ago, before I became president of Poland, because a lot of a number of very interesting information, yes, was really tremendous, and discussions were very fruitful.
Yeah. In fact, we have some participants of yesterday's conference that are here in our presence.
If I say something not precisely enough in your opinion, because you know, English is not my mother tongue, and I'm not fluent in English, so please ask me or correct me. Please.
Well, I've already done that with respect to what's the most beautiful campus in the world. So I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you very much.
The invitation I knew you were going to say that. That's why I offered that invitation. Let me ask about your experience as a leader of a country. So Poland is situated in a part of the world where it's close by to some major conflict that's happening. And Poland, as a democracy, came out of really the rule of the Soviet Empire from years ago. So it's not that new or not that old as a democracy. You came in having been a law professor, having been a lawyer, having not been in the public eye in the way you became in the public eye with a lot of scrutiny. In your role as president, tell us about how you processed, how you dealt with the difficulty of criticism and of public scrutiny of everything that you did and what lessons you may have learned from that.
First, what I would like to tell you is that from the first day of my public service, yes, my presence in Polish politics, I have treated this role, this situation as a form of service, pure serving the country. That was my purpose. I wanted to do something positive for Poland, for my homeland, for people in Poland. Poland is still in a process of development. We are chasing the Western European countries and the United States of America. We would like to strengthen our security. We would like to pick up the average standard of living in Poland. So the number of tasks we have in Poland is really huge, and so Poland is, I can say, still in a process of changes. Yes, the process started in 1989. When we won the first half-free elections, yes, and the process is very difficult. A lot of painful changes, a lot of very difficult situation we have in our history. But I can say that there is a visible success. Yes, the economic growth of Poland and that the situation the situation people have in Poland now is much better than it was before. If someone visited Poland this 35 years ago and will come to Poland now, believe me, huge difference. Mm-hmm. So I've treated my role, my presence, my mission in politics always as a public service. Yes, mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, really, frankly, that I've never expected that it's possible that I would be the president of Poland. That was astonishing for me this years ago when suddenly leader of my former party called me and said, Andrzej, you are one of the few people we consider to be a candidate in next presidential election. Frankly, I treated this as a joke. Yeah. because I wasn't a politician from the first political league in Poland. I was rather in the second, third row. Yes, of course I had very important tasks and missions before. Yes, as you said, President. I was Deputy Minister of Justice. I was Under Secretary of State. So we say in Poland, minister, also minister in the Chancellery of the President, our late President Lech Kaczyński, very important part of my life and very very important and sometimes very sad experience because as you probably know, President died in 2010 in a plane crash in Russia, and so that was very difficult for me, and that was also very difficult moment for me and very important because I came back from Warsaw to my hometown Kraków, because I'm from Kraków, not from Warsaw, to my family, to my wife, to my daughter, and there was a proposal, yes, to run in the municipal elections as a candidate for mayor of the city, yes, and I knew, you know, this is very sensitive. That was very sensitive element in my life because my wife, she didn't want me to enter the politics, and I always tried to convince her, Agata, she's Agata, I'm not a politician, I'm a lawyer. I'm a deputy minister of justice because I'm a lawyer. I'm a undersecretary of state, chancellor of the president, but the president said that I am his lawyer. President said, this is my lawyer, Andrzej Duda. He said that someday to the audience during the meeting with a Solidarity in Lubin, as I remember. Yeah. So I said, I'm a lawyer. But that moment, when I had this proposal to run in the purely political elections, for the purely political role as is mayor of the city, yes, that was the decision. That was this moment when I stepped this thin red line, yes, between being still a lawyer and becoming politician. And now I always emphasize I'm not a lawyer anymore. I'm a politician. I've been a politician since that day, yes, when I decided to run in these municipal elections in Kraków. Of course, I didn't win these elections, but I became a member of the city council. So I was a member of the city council in Kraków, and I came back to university for 1 year because after a year in the autumn 2011 we had parliamentary elections, and our party called me to run in these elections, and I succeeded, and I became a member of Polish Parliament for 3 years. After 3 years, they nominated me as a candidate in a Euro parliamentary elections, and I became a member of European Parliament for a year. And after that, they decided that I would be the candidate in the presidential elections, and I won.
Yeah, you started off as you were telling us last night, the first polls had you at 12% with your opposition at 75%.
Yes, that was
a little bit of a hill to climb.
That was November 2014.
Yeah, November 2014.
Yes.
Elected the following year, and then re-elected 5 years later by a closer margin than prior before. But let me take you to a particular point in time. You are now president of Poland. You have seen the Russian army amassing on the border with Ukraine. The night that the tanks rolled in, walk us through what you were thinking, because those of you who know the region know that the only thing between Russia and Poland is Ukraine. When the tanks rolled into Ukraine, tell us what was going through your mind and how you processed what Poland's next step would be, when, how. Walk us through that.
This almost 4 years ago, yes, that was much more complicated process because in the autumn of 2021, we had first information from Intel, yes, that Russians are gathering their military forces along a border with Ukraine. Yes, and the first moment, I remember I didn't treat it as a serious threat of the war, because there was, you have to remember that the war, that the first chapter, the aggression, Russian aggression against Ukraine, that was 2014, not 2022. 2022 was a full-scale aggression, as we call it. But in 2014, the Russians started to occupy Crimea, yes, and they attacked Donetsk and Lugansk. So there was a war, Minsk agreements, etc. All these political processes around, but there was war, and so that was nothing very unusual that they are gathering some military forces not far from Ukrainian border. That was connected with then huge military exercises, called Zapad, organized by Kremlin and Minsk, so Belarusian regime. There had been a lot of Russian military forces in a region, I can say. That was not the first time. So it wasn't, at the beginning, it wasn't a very big threat yet. But after a few days, I don't remember quite well, but relatively soon, we received the information that they are moving military forces from the far east of Russia to the Ukrainian border, and that was the first really important signal that it's possible that they are thinking about some kind of military intervention, of military action against Ukraine. So the process took 2-3 months. Yes, that to the end of the year, the information we got was serious, more serious, and more serious, and more serious, and they moved. They moved forces, they moved military infrastructure, so not only units, not only military troops, but also equipment, heavy equipment, tanks, etc. Yeah, but and after, I don't remember, in November. In November, we started to receive information that signals that experts, so-called. Sorry, that was classified information, and that is classified information. So
we won't tell anyone.
So I can't say everything. But we received info that experts. They predict full-scale invasion against Ukraine. For me, at the first glance, it was, completely crazy. Yeah. And I remember I asked our generals, yes, full-scale invasion? What does it mean? What does it mean? Do you mean invasion like the archives in this black and white movies? Yes, from the Second World War, the tanks, hundreds of tanks are running. Yes, this is full-scale invasion. Thousands of soldiers. They said yes. Yes, Mr. President, yes, this is the full-scale invasion, and experts, they expect this kind of Russian activity in the future. You know, we had meetings because the situation was really serious. So I organized in a national security office meetings of the most important people in our politics. Prime Minister, Marshal of Sejm, generals, and ministers responsible for the security of the state, internal, external, and we discussed the possible problems and possible solutions. So one of the elements we discussed was a potential wave of refugees from Ukraine to Poland, and I never forget the moment when our then Minister of Internal Affairs, responsible for border crossings and the border guards, yes, so the supervisor of the border guards in Poland. He was talking about the situation on the borders and possible solutions, and I asked him, Minister, his name is Mariusz, Mariusz, tell me how many people we can send through our all border crossings with Ukraine daily, 24 hours. How many? He said to me, Andrzej, 120,000. It's maximum, in my opinion. He said, I remember that very well. You know what was the most intensive day after the Russian aggression, few days after Russian aggression?
More than that.
240. More than 240,000 people crossed our border through our border crossings.
And so you had
because
to,
border crossings were fully opened, no control.
You had to let them be open because otherwise there would be people who were just stranded back there. Is that right?
Yes, the situation was really terrible, but.
Well, then
but thanks to the very good and efficient, effective cooperation with Ukrainians, my cooperation with Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, our direct contacts, our direct phone calls, in any need, yes, we managed. Because we had really a lot of very difficult situations. Yeah.
And then you sprung into action, in many ways taking the lead in Europe to be a voice of response and trying to gather the rest of the world to come to the aid of Ukraine. Tell us how you went about doing that and what was the important milestones in that?
You know, there are very specific elements in the answer to your question. You know, Poland and we Poles, we have the special, the very special, I can say, attitude to the Russian aggression in general. Mm-hmm. Yes, because we have terrible experiences in our history with Russia and with Russians. Russia occupied Poland and participated in a partition of Poland. So part of Poland, 1/3 of Poland was part of Russia for more than 123 years in 19 and the beginning of 20th century. Yes, we regained our independence in 1918 after the First World War. Yes, but after 21 years in 1939, we were attacked, successfully attacked by Germans, of course, at the beginning by Germans. 1st September 1939, the beginning of the Second World War, German aggression against Poland. But after 17 days, Russia, Soviet Russia, attacked Poland, because that was the result of the pact joined between Stalin and Hitler. They were allies at that moment. Yes, Russians, they don't want to remember that, but that's the historic truth, that they were allies with Nazi Germany, yes. And together they attacked Poland and they occupied Poland, and Poland disappeared from the maps. So there was the occupation of Poland also by Russians till the day of German aggression against Soviet Union 3 years after that. But after the First World War, in 1920, we had full-scale Soviet aggression against Poland, but the goal was not Poland. Poland was on their way, yes, mm-hmm. because they wanted to handle the communist revolution to Berlin, to Paris, to whole Europe. You probably know that after at the end of the First World War, there was a lot of communist, socialistic, small revolutions in Western European countries, especially in Germany. And Soviets wanted to support them and to change the systems in many European countries in general. In Europe, they wanted to have their tremendous sphere of influences in whole Europe. Yes, mm-hmm. But we won the great battle near Warsaw. The Soviets were defeated by Polish army. That was in 1920, and that was one of the greatest victories in our history. But in 1939, together with Nazi Germans, they were too strong, and we were defeated, and Poland disappeared from the map. And you know, when Poland was when we regained our state, I can say, yes, in 1945, after the Yalta and other agreements of the leaders, yes, they left us in Soviet sphere of influences, and that's the first part of my life, because I was born in 1972 in communist Poland, behind the Iron Curtain, and when we regained our full sovereignty and full independence in 1989, I was 17, so I was almost adult. I remember. So
you knew what
well.
It was like to be behind the Soviet lines.
So we knew what it means that Russians are coming. So that was the reason why Polish people were so heartfelt. The thousands of my compatriots came to the borders with Ukraine by cars. They took people without any questions. Mm-hmm. Any questions. The only question is, I'm from Lublin, or I'm from Warsaw, or I'm from Kraków, or I'm from Gdańsk, I'm from Wrocław. Would you like to go with me? Would you like to go to Wrocław? So if you would like, get in the car. Mm. And during the journey there was question: what's your name? How old are you? Where do you live in Ukraine, etc., etc.? What's your situation? Do you have anything with you? What kind of help do you need? Yes. So that was the real situation. I saw it my own eyes because I visited border crossings between Poland and Ukraine. I saw this crowd of the sad, gray people.
Yeah. So this isn't the first time in Polish
terrible,
history, though,
believe me.
that Poland has come to the aid of those who are being attacked by the Russians. You spoke movingly last night about during the Nazi occupation and when the Germans were coming in and Germans were going house to house looking for Jewish people, and the role that Polish individuals and families and the risks they took and the museum that was created. Why don't you share a little bit about that? That was quite moving.
Yes, you know, that was very important element and point in our discussion yesterday and in my explanation of the situation of Poles, not in Poland, because there was no Poland that time. You have to remember that during the Second World War, whole Poland, whole our land was occupied by Germans. There was no Polish authorities, there was no Polish institutions. Everything was in hands of Germans, and we were in hands of Germans as a society, yes? The society, where big part of this society were Polish Jews. There was millions of Jews in Poland before the Second World War. And when Germans came, so that was catastrophe for whole our society, but especially for Polish Jews, yes, because they were marked by Germans, yes, and isolated in ghettos, and after that. During the whole the occupation, they were killed by Germans. The cruelty is hard to imagine. Was hard to imagine, but what was the problem? Because some people say around the world discussing that very difficult and tragic time of Holocaust, yes, that Polish people they didn't support Jews. They couldn't do more, and I had a very difficult discussion with Jewish intellectuals in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and I asked them, do you know that only in Poland and in Russia and in Baltic states during the German occupation, the penalty for any kind of support for Jews, for even one Jew, was death penalty. Not only for you, but for whole your family. That was the problem. It was not a situation like in the Netherlands or in France or in other European occupied countries, that you had difficulties, yes, you could be taken to the prison by Germans. No, death penalty. So my question was, are you sure that if you would be in this situation, that some Poles are treated as a second, third category of people, and they are killed by other nations, by occupants? Are you sure that you give support, that you give help, that you are ready to open your doors for them if you and your family would be in danger? And the threat would be death.
And
Are
yet
you
many
sure?
did, and yet many
and there
did.
was silence in the room. silence, because it's not so easy, and everyone knows that this is very difficult. So that was the historic truth, and that was the problem. Of course, I absolutely don't deny that there were bad people in Poland who denounced Jews and who even collaborated with Germans, but people, not Poles as a nation, not Poles as some kind of institution, because we had no Polish institution that time. There was no Polish government collaborating with Germans. No, absolutely. There was no Polish institutions collaborating with Germans during the occupation. There was illegal underground army and underground state chased by Germans with full cruelty, but they fought against Germans. And there was a lot of attacks against Germans, and finally Warsaw Uprising, organized by our underground state, supported by the Polish government in London, because Polish government, Polish officials, authorities were in London that time as part of the anti-German coalition. Yes, that's the historic truth. Of course, there was a lot of problems. There was a lot of tragic situations. Yes, but Ulma family is a symbol. Is one of the Polish families who sacrificed their life to support Jews. And we talked yesterday about this, yes. So
yeah, but the
because this is very important to have this knowledge. What was real situation of Poles and Polish Jews under the German occupations for these years? So if I hear sometimes that people somewhere abroad they call Polish concentration camps, Polish death camps. This is so painful to hear something like that. German Nazi camps. There was even no Poland. Of course, the land is ours now. There is, yes. Auschwitz is now in Poland. But then, that was Germany, not Poland. And Germans built these camps. That was Germans' initiative, German idea, and Germans' plan to kill all Jews. Yes. So first that was the concentration camp in Auschwitz, and then after a few years, Nazi German death camp in Birkenau. This is 3 kilometers, there is the distance between these two camps.
So this is in the collective memory of the culture when the Ukrainian refugees come pouring across the border, because they know, here's what we do as Poland, we step up and we help people who are in need from an oppressing power. So now you're rallying international support to try and help push back. Talk to us about your relationship with the United States. And how that played out, and what the role of the United States was during your presidency with respect to Ukraine.
Our first step before the Russian full-scale aggression was that we decided with the President of Lithuania, current President of Lithuania, still current, Gitanas Nausėda, to come to Kiev. We wanted to join Volodymyr Zelensky. We wanted to show to the world that Ukraine is not alone, and we decided to go to Kiev. I remember my conversation with our intel. They told me, "What? No, No. My security, our secret service said, no, Mr. President, no. Please, no. I said, we have to go. You have to organize everything. It was absolutely impossible to fly to Kiev. It's 700 kilometers from Warsaw. Yes, it's 500 kilometers from our border with Ukraine, Kiev. So we decided to drive by cars. And we drove by cars. This 500 kilometers from our border to Kiev. We met Volodymyr Zelensky, and we wanted to show our solidarity, and we wanted to send this very strong message to the world that Ukraine is not alone, and not only to the world, also to Ukrainians, you know, because it was very important. You maybe remember that in the moment of Russian full-scale aggressions, most of people in the Western world they thought that it would take only a few days, that Russians will take Kiev and would take Kiev and Russians would start to occupy whole Ukraine. Mm-hmm. But this courage of Volodymyr Zelensky, I have great respect for Volodymyr since that day, because thanks to this courage, his courage and his people, his co-workers, yes, Ukraine survived. Mm. This is my humble opinion. Yeah, that for the Ukrainian society, for the defenders of Ukraine, for soldiers, the front line, as that president is still in Kiev. He doesn't escape. Yes, he doesn't run away. Was fundamental. And he said, no, we will stay here. We will protect our country. We will fight. We are ready to die. Defending our homeland. Yes, mm-hmm. That was absolutely crucial that moment. So I'm really proud that we were there this few hours before the Russian aggression. Believe me, few hours before the Russian aggression, because as you know, during the night. There was the beginning of the aggression. Mm. So that was very important moment, and of course I talked with the then President of the United States, with President Biden. Yes, there were preparations. I'm very grateful to the president that he decided to send additional American troops to Poland, and they stationed nearby Rzeszów, nearby the Ukrainian border, with their equipment. They were prepared for any difficult situations, also to support us if we potentially would have any problem. Thank God there was no problems, and we came back from Kiev. But that was very strong and direct cooperation with President Biden and with a group of the leaders of NATO countries. Yes, we talked on the phone almost every 2 days. Yes, as I remember at the beginning. And the process of the convincing, I can say, no? Convincing our allies that we have to strengthen our military support for Ukraine. The process was very difficult, but this is a different story. Yeah. but the beginning was very important. That they felt, Ukrainians, that they are not alone, and that this is not the only. There's that they want to be the part of the Western world, of the free world, of NATO and European Union. But we are with them. We stand with them. That was very important.
Yeah. Well, we've got some questions from the audience. I'll give you a really quick, short one that I thought was clever. Best Polish food? What's your favorite Polish food?
Pierogi.
Pierogi,
Dumplings.
okay. All right.
Ukrainian dumplings.
Ukrainian dumplings.
This is the slight difference in Polish language. There are, I think there are some members of the audience who knows that this pierogi, these dumplings, are ruskie pierogi, yes? Ruskie, but they are not Russian pierogi. No. Ukrainian. Because Ukrainian was Ruś. Rus. Before they started to use the name Ukraine, yes? That was Ruś. So Ruskie are Ukrainian.
Very important to
Not
remember.
Russian.
What do you think the future of the European Union is a question. It's seemingly gaining some solidarity in the face of the Russian aggression. Is the European Union stable long term, or is it on shaky grounds right now?
I was very determined because in my opinion, since the beginning of the Russian aggression against Ukraine, to support Ukraine, to participate in this assistance for Ukraine and to save Ukraine as a sovereign and independent country between Poland and Russia. That was, in my opinion, Polish
interest?
Polish interest, yes, absolutely. That was in the interest of my country. So that's why I was so engaged. Because remember, I was not the president of the Ukraine, I was president of Poland, yes? So I was elected by Poles. And what America the first, yes, but Poland the first, yes. And this is a basic element, but in my opinion, it is in clear Polish interest to have existing free sovereign Ukraine behind our eastern border, yes, with no Russian troops in. So really free.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was so engaged, so involved in any kinds of support, assistance for Ukraine, for the defenders of Ukraine, and I always emphasize there are few possible ways how to support Ukraine. One is very simple: to send military equipment to Ukraine. Yes, and so we've done it. We are still doing that as a state. Yes, as a country, Poland. We sent more than 360 tanks, battle tanks, to Ukraine from the hands of our soldiers, directly from these hands. And our howitzers, Krab, yes, more than 60 of them we sent to Ukraine. Millions of rounds of ammunition, and a lot of military equipment, anti-bullet vests, helmets, everything, uniforms, shoes, everything, boots, everything. So this is one. A second is financial support. Okay, to organize some financial programs for Ukraine. Yes, they need money. They need money because you can imagine the Ukrainian economy is there is catastrophe. This country doesn't work as a normal state. Yes, this is completely different situation than normal situation. So this is second possible way. Third possible way is political support. Yes. So I participated in this kind of support very actively for whole these almost 3.5 years of my presidential service during this chapter of the war, and I was the initiator of the letter to the European Council and European Commission that Ukraine, that the status of candidate to the European Union should be granted for Ukraine. The beginning was very difficult because there were a lot of doubts among European leaders and a lot of discussions. But after a few months, in June 2022, there was the decision of the European Council, and Ukraine has this status, candidate status to European Union, and I hope that this process will end relatively soon. Yes, and Ukraine will be the full member of European Union. And I also proposed to send to Ukraine, to give Ukraine an official invitation to NATO. But you can imagine that this problem is much more sensitive because we all understand, I also understand that it's impossible now to open the door for NATO and to take Ukraine as a full member of NATO because of the war. Yes? Because there is Article 5 and automatically when Ukraine is a full member of NATO, NATO will have to send their military forces to support Ukraine to participate in a war. Yes, so it's absolutely impossible, and no one agree on that solution. But I said, but we can make the decision to give Ukraine invitation to NATO, official invitation. What does it mean? The beginning of the process of ratification. Because because Ukrainian joining NATO means we have this is the change of the treaty, because additional country is the member of the alliance. Yes, so and the change of the treaty requires ratifications in all member states. So the process is long, but this is very important political signal. Once for Ukrainians that they are accepted, that NATO is waiting for them, that the alliance and the Western Euro-Atlantic community is waiting for them and welcomes them. This is one important, very important for the morale of Ukrainian, yes, and the defenders of Ukraine. And the second, this is very strong signal to Kremlin. That there is still strong and very determined support for Ukraine, and that we as a community remember about them. So, in my opinion, it was, and it is quite possible to do that, but leaders are very skeptic. Well, I don't think that they would decide this.
We know that you've got a plane to catch, but before we end, I wanted to let you know, as you walk around campus, you may have seen banners that say the word purpose. Every year we have an annual theme, and we have a Bible verse, I know you're a Christian, that goes with that. And our theme of purpose comes from the verse that says, "For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. Looking back on your life, President Duda, it is clear to me and to those here that you were called according to a purpose, and that's to stand up for the people of Poland, to stand up for the people of Ukraine, and to lead a country. And I want to give you this coin that commemorates being called according to his purpose. So let me shake your hand, give you this coin, and say thank you. Thank you for your leadership. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We will resume. Oh, do you want to say something?
No,
We will resume our presidential speaker series when I return from sabbatical. Sometime in late February, we'll have 3 over the course of the last few weeks of the spring semester. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for coming. God bless you all, and have a great day.
Thank you very much for your presence here. Thank you very much for your time, for your participation. It's really precious for me that I could have this meeting with you, and I'm really happy that I can share with you my vision, because I have to tell you that it's a great pleasure for me, and I'm so happy, because especially during this part of the conference we had yesterday, I felt that we share the same values here in this place, yes, at your university, and I'm very, very grateful for this invitation.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
You honor us with your presence.
Thank you very much. It's really great pleasure and honor for me to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I promise you I will try to polish my English for the future.
To polish or to Polish the English?
My Polish is well enough.